And let's begin now. There are indications that dismissal of Boakye Jacko as energy minister won't end the Ameri controversy just yet. In an unusual move this morning, the former minister posted on his Facebook wall, quote, "My side will be heard when the dust is settled." He lost his job yesterday following very heated exchanges over the revised Ameri deal. Meanwhile, energy expert Kojo Poku says ousted Minister Boakye Jacko will still be at post should he have worked on the Ameri deal with stakeholders involved. According to Kojo Poku, Mr. Jacko was fired for having the figures wrong. He says if the deal had been reviewed and widely consulted in close collaboration with stakeholders like the finance ministry, they would have highlighted the wrongs in it.
Every minister brings his document to cabinet. He has gotten all the advice from the ministry. Other cabinet ministers can only interrogate him based on what he has presented, and they can ask questions, and if he's well prepared and he can answer all those questions, a cabinet will pass it. So the fact that he went to see the president because of time, from what we've been told, it was time that made him go and see the president because he didn't have time to go through the whole cabinet session. Even if he had gone to cabinet, the Honorable Jacko, I know, would have had his answers and convinced cabinet that this was a good deal. Maybe some would have disagreed with him, but in large, cabinet would have passed it. Cabinet sometimes doesn't always get 100% decision, but if the majority supports it, it will pass. So yes, if he went to the president directly and told the president a story, okay, and it turns out that the savings he talked of, the 400 million savings, is not a savings, then the issue of, oh, it's a better deal than the Ameri deal because here all consultations have happened, and we find out that the finance ministry is saying that they have not been consulted properly, then you have misled the president. People are saying that the president should have done his checks and done stuff like that. My brother, if a minister comes to you to give you his assertion, you don't argue with him because he's the one that you've put there, and he's the one that if the chips falls, he's fired. So the president would take his word for it and give him the documents he needs to go and do his job. That is why he hire and fire. He got the numbers wrong, basically. And for somebody whose strong suit is numbers, because he's from the banking background, it's unfortunate that he went down for the numbers. If you look, the memo that the man took to Parliament, if you go through it, I only went through it for 30 minutes and I could spot 3 or 4 things that were not supposed or were wrong with the memo. So I'm surprised that the Home Minister would take that and sign that to to Parliament without spotting those contradictions. There are so many contradictions. In one part, there's a 52 million that the GOG says they don't acknowledge from Ameri. But then in a different part, they are saying that somebody is paying that on behalf of the government. If you don't acknowledge a payment, how does somebody pay that payment on your behalf? Then secondly, there are some, mathematical errors in some of the things that is in there, but those can be typos. But like I said, if the finance people have looked at it and he have gotten the finance minister on his board and the finance minister has signed it, then he would have known that, look, they could have spotted those things for him. But he went on it alone, and unfortunately he's gone on it alone.
Now, Lands and Natural Resources Minister John Peter Amewu is to take up the additional role at the Energy Ministry following the decision by the President for him to act until a substantive minister is appointed. Nancy Emefa Jadosi has been monitoring events at the Energy Ministry this morning.
It's barely 24 hours after President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo relieved Boakye Jacko of his duties as Minister for Energy and replaced him with the current Mines Minister, Peter Amewu, who is supposed to take office from today. We've been here since morning to try and get him and speak to him to find out how he's going to fare with his new job, but we haven't been able to speak to him because he hasn't showed up yet. We haven't even spotted the 3 deputies for the ministry. Well, my checks with some officials, they tell me that the chief executive or the director also stepped out in the morning, and he suspects that there's going to be a meeting somewhere, either at the Flagstaff House or Parliament, because all the executives, the top management, are not currently here. But earlier I tried to speak to some of the workers to find out what they made of the sacking of their former boss, but most of them obviously declined to speak to us. But from here at the Energy Ministry, everything so far has been going on smoothly.
Nancy Emefa Dradosi, who has been monitoring events at the ministry for us this afternoon. Well, let me take you through the profile of the minister who has been sacked, as well as the person who's taking over temporarily. That's Boakye Agyarko. He's a professional banker and an economist. He's a politician. Obviously, his party is the NPP. He once aspired for NPP flag bearership position, which is what has fueled some conversations as well that he is actually still eyeing the presidency. He was appointed as the energy minister, of course, by Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo when he won the elections, and then he assumed office in February 2017, which is, of course, last year. He was preceded by Emmanuel Kofi Amaboa. The things that he's been involved in, the controversies surrounding his office that he has been involved in. Once he was accused of doling out monies. Let's move on to John Peter Amewu now. John Peter Amewu worked with the African Center for Energy Policy, which he founded. He was the minister. He is a minister for lands and natural resources. He's the acting energy minister now, following the dismissal of Boakye Agyarko. He has an executive MBA in International Energy Industry Management. He also has a master's in petroleum law and policy from the University of Dundee in the United Kingdom. So he is the person taking over now from Minister Boakye Agyarko, but of course temporarily. Along the line we'll know what happens to the substantive position.